Hi, I'm Chef Lula. Welcome to Jazzy Elegance. Today I welcome you to my kitchen. I'm going to be cooking for you a lime margarita salad. It's going to be with some grilled shrimp, and I'm going to grill it up with some margarita seasoning. Then I'm going to come right at you with some chicken. That's going to be a black cherry chipotle chicken. Then I'm going to add to that a sauteed collard greens, and it's going to be with some red jalapeno pepper and garlic collard greens. Then I'm going to add to that some yellow rice, because this is all a Mexican fusion that I'm doing for you today. And then I'm going to add a key lime margarita green apple cobbler. Yeah, that's a mouthful, but that's what I'm doing for you today. And thank you so much for joining. Hi, welcome back to Jazzy Elegance with Chef Lula. The first thing I'm going to be making for you is my key lime margarita green apple cobbler. First thing I'm going to do is take a pie crust, and you can get any type of pie crust that's already made. You don't have to go and try to make it yourself. So my Jazzy Elegance is all about simple and making it to where you can actually make it yourself. So you're going to take a pie crust and roll it out. And what I do is I have a cast iron skillet here. As you can see, it's very small, perfect for a pie for 2 to 4 people. So I take the pie crust, sit it inside the black skillet, and then I make some real cute little crimps. I don't think that's a word, but I like to say it, around the actual pan. So I go around the black skillet, make the little pie crust crimps all the way around. And anybody can do this, okay? It didn't take a rocket scientist, so it's pretty easy. And sometimes my people tell me that I make things look really easy, but it really is. If you just take your time and do it, you can do it and do it right. So after you get this ready, you're gonna put this in the oven. And what I do is I like to spray it, and then I put it on in the oven. You can take your spray, and it doesn't matter what kind. You can use butter spray or whatever you like to use. Then I just take a knife and make some slits into the actual crust all the way around so that the actual crust can breathe. And when I say breathe, that means that when I put this in the oven, because I got to put it in there so it will brown, it'll lift up by itself, cook the crust under the pie so that you'll have a crunchy crust at the bottom as well as on the top. So I'm going to put this on into the oven, and we'll be right back. Hi, welcome back to Jazzy Elegance. You know, I just put that pie crust in the oven, so while that is going on, that takes about 10 minutes for it to brown on 375. I go right into fixing the actual filling for the pie. So I've already cut up some apples to save time. So now all I'm gonna do is cut up an apple, just show you how to do that real quick. Cut it from each side. Always have trash right by so you can clean up as you go. Then I get that apple cut really quick. And then I'm gonna go through and just cube it. So cube it. And I usually buy these little cutting boards so that I can easily pick it up and keep moving. Because if you have the big wooden cutting board, sometimes it just gets in the way and you don't have time to keep wiping and wiping. So I try to make everything easy for all of my clients. Because what I do is private chef dinner parties and also cooking classes. And I'm also a private chef. So we put some sugar on there, and I usually eyeball everything. So I usually know how much sugar to put in everything. So I'm gonna use some vanilla flavor. Just dab some on there. Follow it up with some almond flavor. That's just to enhance the flavor of the cobbler. Gonna add some cinnamon, because cinnamon makes everything better. That's what I'm talking about, okay? And then I'm gonna add some fresh nutmeg. So I usually take the nutmeg and just shave it in there. And when you smell it, I mean, it just smells like Christmas, just the holidays all over again. So as you can see, that's a fresh nutmeg. Like I said, you just take it and shave it, and you're gonna use about a whole nutmeg. And to make this the key lime, the strawberry key lime cobbler, You're just gonna take your strawberry key lime margarita mix, and you're just gonna pour some on there. And I've already got some butter melting on the stove. So I'm gonna get ready to put some lime zest on here, and it's gonna go right into that pot. And you're just gonna cook it until you saute the apples a little bit, making sure you get all the flavor out of the apples, but do not cook it that long because you don't want your pie to be soggy. You want it to be nice and crispy and delicious. All right, so I also take 1/2 stick of real butter, and that's what I use, real butter for everything. Although it might make you fat, it sure is gonna be delicious, okay? So my food doesn't make you fat though, because all my food, because I cook it with love and I'm adding butter, it's gonna be too good to make you fat, okay? If you believe that, you gotta just shout for that, okay? All right, so now I'm gonna add it to some butter that I have on the stove and just pour it in. And it's just gonna smell like a green apple, like a candy apple is what it smells like. So I just stir it up. And when that butter melts, then it's time to take it out. Okay, we'll be right back. Welcome back to Jazzy Elegance with Chef Lula. I've already got my pie in the oven and it's getting ready for you. So now I'm getting ready to fix for you some black cherry chipotle wings. And all I've done is added some oil to the chicken. Of course, I've already rinsed the chicken. And now I'm gonna season that up with some black cherry chipotle seasoning. And I just season that really, really good. And it's gonna look like a lot, but you know, what I'm looking for is flavor and getting some color on the chicken so that you will really enjoy this, okay? And this is a seasoning that I found by Kinder, and that's the only one I found that has a black cherry chipotle seasoning. So by the time you go looking for it, you can either get it online or you can actually get it in the local grocery stores. So I usually try to wear some gloves whenever I'm using chicken because chicken has so much bacteria. So even after you've cleaned it off, and I usually clean it off with salt water, and sometimes you can use distilled vinegar to clean off your chicken. And a lot of people tell you that you shouldn't clean it off and whatever. My grandmother would turn over in her grave if I didn't clean my chicken, okay? So there's that. So she'll be hunting me. So now I get it all seasoned up, and I usually put a little oil on it, which is what you saw me do in the very beginning. And then I add it to the pan. So I have a little grill pan here. So all I do is just make sure that chicken is seasoned. Then I just start putting it in the pan. And it doesn't matter what kind of pan you use. You know, you can use a skillet, you know, black cast iron, whatever it is that you want to use. I mean, this is you cooking food at your house, okay? It could be in a pan, it doesn't matter what kind. And you always spray your pans. And the reason you do that, you spray it because you want to be able to have an easy release with whatever it is that you're cooking. And that's why you probably didn't see me spray this pan once I started this particular part of what I'm doing for you. But I had already sprayed it before I started talking to you guys about it. So I never try to cook anything unless I spray it. Now, when you're boiling water, don't be spraying the pan if you're trying to make some coffee, okay? Or some tea, don't do that. So it's different when you're trying to cook with that pan versus you actually using it for something else. And I'm talking about coffee, you know, water. Everybody doesn't have a teapot. Everybody doesn't have a Keurig at home. You know, sometimes you gotta boil some water to make you some coffee or tea, okay? So after I get that done, excuse me, I have a little cleanup over here. I usually take it and I use my spray. I spray the chicken again. And the reason I use spray, pan spray, is because I don't want to use too much oil or too much butter. So I use that because I want the perfect crispiness on the chicken or whatever meat that it is that I'm fixing. And everything is different. You know, sometimes you use oil, sometimes you use butter, but this time we're not. So I do the spray again to seal the seasoning in. And I know sometimes people think, oh my God, that's a lot. You should see me seasoning steak. Okay, there's that. Okay, thank you, and I'll be right back with you with that pie, finishing up with that. Thank you so much. See you in a few minutes. Welcome back to Jazzy Elegance with Chef Lula. I've already taken the pie crust out of the oven, and as you can see, it is hot. But you gotta make sure that it's nice and fluffy all the way around. And as I was checking it, I do have a disclaimer. Sometimes I can screw up stuff, okay? But it looks good. I like it. So all you gotta do is take your apples off the stove, and it's just gonna go inside of the pan. And I use 4 green apples, Granny Smith. And then I use just about a cup of the strawberry key lime margarita mix. And you can use any type of margarita mix, it doesn't matter. All you're trying to do is get the flavor. And you can also add a little tequila if you want to kick it up a notch, okay? And usually I kick it up plenty of notches at dinner parties. But just for the sake of what we're doing today, we're gonna make it nice and delicious, okay? Because either way it goes, it's the flavor that you're looking for. So I put all the juice in there, and that's some juice from some brown butter. And of course, remember it had nutmeg, also cinnamon, and then the key lime margarita mix. So after that goes in, I'm gonna put this back on the stove. And all you're gonna do is take another pie crust, and you can just take some lines and put this inside the actual crust. Move this out of the way. And you're gonna put this as a cover on top of the actual pie. Okay? So I take it and I just start putting it inside. And remember, as long as you're cooking with love, I mean, the food is gonna turn out all right. And that means cooking something like you really care about it. And that's the way you want people to cook for you. So that's what I keep in mind all the time. I cook the way I want somebody to cook for me. And it means they took their time and they really paid attention to what they were doing. And when you can feel that in the food, oh yeah, it's really delicious. Because you see that person really took their time to give you something that you would enjoy. So all you're gonna do is just kind of put your pie crust vertical and then horizontal. So you get it all in there. And then you keep your long pieces so that it can cover a multitude of sins in case you screwed up something, okay? All right, so I take this longer one and then I just go around it so it'll be nice and pretty. So that's what it's gonna look like. And if you have a little crust left over, some people really love crust. Sometimes I just make it and add some more to it as if my own kids were eating it because they love crust. They like the filling too, but my gosh. But I love it too, they got it from me, okay? And then I go and I take some spray, and you can use, like I said, any kind of spray. I use butter spray or whatever I have on hand. Then I add a little bit more cinnamon, some organic cinnamon on top. And then just a little sugar. And that is cooking with love, okay? All right, so we're gonna get that in the oven. Gonna rinse my hands real quick. Okay, and we'll be right back. Welcome back to Jazzy Elegance with Chef Lula. Just gonna show you guys a little tip. So before I put the pie in the oven, I spray the pan. I pull out some foil. And when you put the foil inside of a sprayed pan, it seals the actual foil in the pan. So it's a really cool trick, okay? And the reason you want to add a sprayed pan to this whole cobbler affair is because once this pie starts to leak and everything, it'll leak on top of the foil. You take the foil, fold it, and just throw it in the trash and rinse off the pan, and you don't have to worry about all the residue from the pie wasting inside the pan. Okay, I'm gonna put this in the oven, and then I'm gonna come right with you with some shrimp. Okay. Okay, so I have my cast iron skillet heating, and I'm gonna get ready to do some margarita shrimp. So what I've done is I've already marinated the shrimp in some margarita mix. So I'm gonna add some margarita seasoning to that. And I usually add a little flavor enhancer, so this is some lemon butter garlic seasoning. Okay, so with that, we're gonna add just a little garlic sea salt, and that's just to intensify the flavor. All right, so now I'm going to move over here to my cast iron. And before I do that, I'm gonna toss the shrimp a little bit in all of that marinade and seasoning. And then I'm gonna get ready to drop the shrimp as my pan gets hot. So because I already have yellow rice on the menu, you can use any type of yellow rice, and this is some Spanish yellow rice. And I really like this rice, so I'm gonna use that. So I'll have that cooking while I get ready to put the shrimp in the pan. So I already had some hot water boiling with a half a stick of butter in it. So now I'm gonna get ready to move on to the shrimp. So you can do more than one thing at one time. In fact, it saves time, because after I do this, I'm gonna get the lettuce cut and we'll get ready to actually plate up the shrimp salad for our guests. And my daughter is coming to dinner today, so I'm really excited. So now we're gonna move on to the actual shrimp. Oh no, before I do that, let me add a little lemon olive oil. Okay, so now we move on to the actual shrimp. So whenever I put shrimp in the pan, I test it. And whenever you see that pan sizzling, that means it's ready, okay? So I come in and I just put everything, the shrimp in a circle. And when you put shrimp in a circle, that means you know which one to turn over first. At least that helps me when I do it that way. Because a lot of people put the shrimp in a pan and they don't know which one to turn over first, because they all turn pink sometimes depending on the heat of the actual stove. Then you know which one to turn over. So I get them in, put them all in a circle. And you gotta make sure you're not cooking it up too high. And that looked a little bit high, but that's what stove tops are for. You can always adjust it. And as you can see, I'm still putting everything in a circle. So I go from the outer circle to the inner circle. Now they're all in. Okay, so now as that shrimp is cooking, it won't take long before it all starts to turn pink, and it'll be ready for me to plate up the salad. Okay, we'll be right back. Welcome back to Jazzy Elegance with Chef Lula. I'm finishing up the grilled shrimp. It is a lime margarita grilled shrimp salad. So now I've already finished off the shrimp. So I'm gonna take some romaine and just kind of cut it. So we gotta make this salad sexy, okay? So we're just gonna cut some leaves in half. And I usually just take it and just put it up in a little bowl. And you can do that with both hands, okay? All right, then you're gonna take your tomatoes off the vine. I usually like them on the vine, or they don't have to be, but gives it a little more sex appeal, okay? So you just kind of shake them off the vine, and you're just gonna throw all your trash away. And remember I said clean as you go, that just makes everything much better. So you're just gonna take your tomatoes, get a nice little paring knife. The little small one is called a paring knife, and it's so easy to cut your cherry tomatoes in half. And you never cut them, you cut them where that little dot is, straight across. Never slice them across like that. Okay, always look for the little dot, which is where it was on the vine, and cut it straight down in a vertical line. And they're just gonna get plopped on like that. And I usually take a tomato and just kind of give it a nice little color on the edges. And then I've taken some ranch dressing and made a margarita ranch dressing. So what I usually do is put a little lime juice in here, some margarita seasoning, and some lime zest. Shake it up. And I tell you, Hidden Valley Ranch just don't know how many different types of ranch dressings I've made over the years, okay? All right, so now you're just gonna take off the top and dress your salad. Okay, if I can get it off. And then you're just gonna drizzle. Give it a nice little sexy drizzle. Then I usually just add a little parsley for color onto the shrimp. And there you have it. Nice little sexy salad. And that is my lime margarita grilled shrimp salad. And I'll be right back. Welcome back to Jazzy Elegance with Chef Lula. Now I'm about to do a little stir fry on some collard greens. So all I'm gonna do is take some greens and I'm gonna cut the end off. And I usually let the rubber band help me. That's on the edge of some collard greens so that I can cut most of the stalk off. And then I take the greens and I just go from the very end. So all you're doing is cutting them just like little ribbons. And a really good friend of mine from Brazil, this recipe came from her. Not the actual recipe, but cutting of the greens, okay? So this is gonna be a stir-fry collard greens. And I've already got the pot cooking already. So I take the rest and I just throw the excess away. So now as you see, they look like little ribbons. Isn't that pretty? Yay, okay. All right, so we're gonna make us some garlic butter. And I just take some minced garlic. I mean, you can chop it, squeeze it, or whatever it is that you want to do with garlic, but I try to cook smart and not hard. So I just add some garlic to some whipped butter, add some parsley to it, and then I just sort of do a little stirring. So I just take it. As you can see, the butter is nice and soft because the garlic butter is what's going to go and make the greens as yummy as possible. So you just kind of stir it up really good and make sure that it's all together, all mixed up. And it's so easy to make your own garlic butter at home. It's actually better because it's nice and fresh and you don't have to worry about anything being added to it. Okay, so there we go, our garlic butter. And that was just parsley, minced garlic, and some whipped butter. Okay, so now I got my pot over here ready to go. So I have some chili oil that I'm gonna add to the actual pan. That's gonna be nice and spicy. And I'll add a little garlic butter to it. And what I'm doing is actually cooking the butter and the garlic together with the red olive oil that I have. It's a red chili olive oil that I have. Okay. So now that's gonna cook a little bit, and as it does that, I'm going to add some chicken base. This is just some roasted chicken base, and I love this by Better Than Bouillon. It's so good on everything. And what you have to do is add the greens just a little bit at a time because you're really stir frying them in the pan. So after the garlic has cooked a little bit, then you stir fry them and they're just gonna be nice and pretty. That beautiful green is what it's gonna bring out. And as this heats up, we'll be right back. We're gonna start to throw them in the pot, and I'll be right back to show you what's going on over here, okay? Welcome back to Jazzy Elegance with Chef Lula. Okay, I've finished everything for you, so now I'm gonna get ready to plate. So now we have our red jalapeno garlic collard greens. Yummy, yummy. So we're just gonna put them across the plate like so. And of course, this is a plate that's fit for a king, okay? So if you have a king around, this would be great. And if you don't, and there's a queen, then this would be great for you too, okay? So we're just gonna take the collard greens and they're just gonna go in like a little diagonal across the plate. Gotta make sure this is nice and tight. All right. So we're gonna take our chicken and it's just gonna go right across the greens. And I usually do whole wings because they're just so easy to cook and they look delicious on a plate. And it's very filling. Because as you know, if you had some wings at home and you were just eating the drumettes or the wingettes, then guess what you do? It's so easy to eat so many. But if you have like 3 whole wings, you feel bad if you put another one on your plate, okay? But in this case, we're gonna add 1 more. Then we're gonna take our yellow rice. Just put it right there, nice little circle. And I usually just take the spoon and just make it nice. Then I take a little parsley. And my signature is I put parsley all over the plate. And I add some green onions over the chicken, leaving a little bit of space for it on the collard greens. And there you have it. And that is my black cherry chipotle wings, my red pepper jalapeno garlic collard greens, and my yellow Spanish rice. And then you have my margarita grilled chicken. It's a grilled shrimp salad. I'm sorry, I just did chicken and I'm saying chicken, okay? Sometimes we chefs, we make mistakes, okay? But I want you to know that it's so delicious and you're really going to enjoy it. So thank you for stopping by. I am Chef Lula, a graduate of Le Cordon Bleu in Dallas, Texas. And I'm also a private chef, and also I do cooking classes. And I thank you for stopping by Jazzy Elegance to enjoy a meal with me. So if you want to look me up, I'm on Instagram at Chef Lula Johnson, and I will look forward to hearing from you. Thank you so much. Bon appetit. Welcome back to Jazzy Elegance with Chef Lula. Last but not least, this is my strawberry key lime green apple cobbler. So what I have for you is, of course we want to make it nice and sexy, okay? So I've already taken a margarita glass, and I'm going to tell you guys a secret. So you're going to spray your glass on the edge, take your salt, and just go around in a circle. And you see how that looks beautiful? Just had to give y'all a little trick. Instead of putting water around the glass, just put a little spray around it. And you have a nice, beautiful glass that looks like it's about to snow and be delicious, okay? So we're gonna take our pie, and we're just gonna lift it up out of the skillet, put it into the glass, add it in. We're gonna add some sea salt caramel to it. I put a little bit on top. Then I add some whipped cream. And although it might fall, you're still gonna put a little bit more caramel on top. Nice little drizzle. Okay. So you're gonna take a twist of lime, put it on the glass just like you would a margarita, and there you have it. My strawberry key lime green apple cobbler. Thank you so much for joining me. And as I said before, I look forward to seeing you on my Instagram, Chef Lula Johnson. Bon appetit.